The Industrial Revolution has thrown humanity into a vastly complex, interconnected and technologically advanced world, and in the space of just a few centuries, more technological change has occurred than we could have ever imagined. However, from the early days of industrialization, fears surrounding the rise of the machine have been ever present, and existed during the 19th century in the form of the Luddites. Luddites was a label to describe people who opposed technology and sometimes took illegal actions in order to sabotage the industrial process. But due to a mix of capitalism and technological development, the Industrial Revolution proved unstoppable, and in just a few generations much of the world was electrified and mechanized. Many jobs once secured primarily by people, such as blacksmiths, were lost, and as more generations went on, slowly the production of goods have become more automated. However, now it seems we are on the cusp of a new era in terms of automation in the workplace. There are countless studies which suggest that millions of jobs could be lost in the coming generations due to robots and AI taking over more and more jobs. Just like industrialization, capitalism will probably make this change inevitable. So what are the consequences of this? In my opinion, there are two broad ways this could go. On the one hand, wealth inequality could worsen dramatically, and societies could eventually descend into turmoil. Or alternatively, robots and AI in the workforce could be so productive that standards of living could be raised significantly, allowing people to pursue their dreams while living off of basic income, with an ethical obligation to work a thing of the past. So let's explore these two possibilities. One relevant issue at the moment is of course the concentration of wealth and monopolization. Agree or disagree with the current economic system, there is no denying that many nations, and most notably the United States, have become oligarchic, especially over the course of the past generation, and it seems to me there is quite a good chance that robots and AI will only worsen this issue. Let's put it this way. Say if a corporation or company employs robots and AI to do work that previously people would do, then those corporations and companies have to pay out less money in the form of wages, and there are less people at the bottom to take any percentage of the company's income. That means less people earning income through these companies in total, and therefore more for those in the middle but also at the top, and those at the top tend to disproportionately make more than anyone else in a given company or corporation. A second point to consider is the potential for a high unemployment rate. Even if new jobs are created, if the response isn't adequate, and based on the lack of preparation for governments for these coming changes so far, it seems that the response will not be adequate, then the likelihood that enough new jobs will be created in time to fight this rising unemployment rate is, in my opinion, pretty slim. With less employment for the working and middle classes, that means less income in total for these classes, and so you can see where that might lead. But with that said, there is also a lot of talk recently about the possibility of universal basic income. So what is UBI exactly? Essentially, it's an unconditional income which every person in a nation receives on a regular basis, and the only requirement is that they are a citizen. At this point in time, I can understand why some people will be skeptical, since it may not solve the root causes behind the need for UBI. But what happens if, say, a 30% unemployment rate became the norm? Perhaps eventually will we have no choice but to embrace UBI? Personally, I think we will embrace it, but we'll have to wait and find out. UBI or no UBI, the coming AI takeover is on our doorstep, and it's worth pondering how society may respond. If a 20 or 30% unemployment rate becomes the norm, how would this impact on society? Would we see the crime rate skyrocket due to bored people who feel a sense of purpose in their life has been stolen away by machines? Will we see the emergence of a neo-Luddite terrorist movement? Will we see the rise of economic movements for change, such as the mass endorsement of a system where robots do most or all of the repetitive labour within the public sector? While I do believe that these changes will firstly benefit those at the top, and that wealth inequality will initially worsen as a result, this new chapter of the economic and technological history of humanity could also be an opportunity to explore new possibilities, such as UBI, and of course possibly as the second possible outcome, robots and AI could actually turn out to be so productive, and due to forces at work in the free market, regardless of increasing income inequality, the prices of products could plummet. If this happens, then living off of UBI could be good enough to afford goods, and thus the economic system would find a way to balance itself out. In this scenario, there may be no major economic meltdown as a direct consequence, and many people without work to do would be able to pursue their ambitions while not worrying about chasing a job they don't really want to do, but are purely seeking for the purpose of income. Sure, there would still be some people who are discontent with unemployment, but this might create a greater market for things like fake jobs, if you might. And here in Ireland we have a thing called men sheds, which exists here in Ireland for the unemployed to find work to do for free and as a collective while they look for jobs. But you could expand that to apply to both men and women, and also to be broader and mainstream in the fields of work it touches on. And that way you would have found a way to help keep people not being bored essentially. So for example, a group of computer programmers whose particular field has been taken over by AIs could meet up and produce websites for fun and free, but follow a strict time frame and bring back a sense of meaning into life instead of going off and, destroying a robot factory. Obviously we won't know until the next 20 or so years pass, but by the late 2030s we should know what the general outcome of these changes are. Regardless of what the consequences are, we are on the cusp of a major couple of decades in human history, and by 2040 we'll be living in a very different world to the one we know now. Capitalism has never been faced with the challenge of automation taking over such a high percentage of jobs before, and no one really knows how the market will respond and what will happen, but it will be certainly interesting to find out.